Hey, good evening, everybody. This is CmdrAleon. Welcome to a late night edition, 11:38. Well, I'm on the other half of the 10:30, so it's 11:38. We'll be here till about 1. We're doing an hour and a half show. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. And we're going to have James jump on with us. And I'll tell you, hey, my cat Missy's she's hanging out here laying on the couch. That's really cool. But welcome, everybody. This is a show that's out of this world. If you're new to the show, I'm CmdrAleon. I work with the highest levels of light. I work with Christ consciousness always in everything I do. I work with the Ashtar Galactic Command, which works in Christed beings of light. I am a conduit for the Christ in my workshops. I've done healings. I don't do that. I've done it briefly on here over the past year. I'm a contactee since the 60s. I had my first contact with space people back in the early 60s that were men and women in light blue space outfits. If you're new to the show, I'm just giving you a quick bio. I'd like to do that because I want you to know where I am and how I got here. I found over the years people that try to say, "Oh, Commander, it's me," and it's not them. I'm pretty hip to people's egos. I've seen people's egos act up when they see what I do, and I can read people's energies pretty quickly. And I know when someone says, "Oh, Commander," when you come on my live or something and say, "Oh, I'm the one," and I tell them, "No, you're not the one." I've been around the block too many times, so I can't be the tricksters. I know the tricksters right off the bat, man. Hey, I'm so glad you're live. Check one at 11, but didn't see you. Yeah, I normally come on at 11, but yeah, I'm a little bit 30 minutes out of it. But let me get down the rabbit hole in here. Oh, how my contact started, because I need to know how it started. James, good evening. Good to see you.
I am the one.
Yes, you are. It was James who started the whole thing, folks. No, I'm just kidding you. But people need to know because since it happened, I've seen people come on my live just in the comments saying, "Oh, it's me, Commander. I'm him." And when people do that kind of stuff, don't start it with me because I can read through your energy that you're not. Your ego is getting the best of you. And I've said this before. Eventually, people will have their own contacts. They don't need to be jealous of what I'm doing. It's not like a contest here. Who's going to have the contact? It happens when it's going to happen for you. It happened for me before when I was on my live with the Alexa app, and it was Billie Holiday. You don't know how the contact's going to happen. But one thing I will not allow is people to use my contact coming into sentences, people that just are, I see names that I don't even know and say, "Oh, it's me." No, it isn't. It's not you at all. I'm pretty hip to what's happening. So don't think you can get one on me because you can't. The commander coming from Mars has a consciousness, multiple consciousness levels. Christ consciousness, always. I did a protection of light before I came on here. I asked the Ashtar Command to put a tensor beam with 30-mile radius around me. I do all these things, and I'm very self-disciplined in what I do. Even when I'm on a radio show on Sunday, I clear all the energies out of the room before I go on the air. I do. I don't just go willy-nilly on the air and say, "Oh, this is great." I clear every single energy, and I want people to know that I have contact constantly now with Godico. Godico and his family are, in a sense, human. So I want to cut to the chase here. Any misinformation about Godico, I will tell the person you're wrong, or whoever it is out there. I know who Godico is. I'm the one who connected with him in the first place, and he has a wife. He has a family. They are tall, taller than me. And I just want people to set the word straight. Godico, actually, I was on this morning. I'm going to tell you a story. I was visiting. I didn't go live this morning. I was just hanging out in one of the other lives, and Gadaco was playing with people's phones. I said, "Listen, folks, listen to Gadaco. He's with me. You might be getting your phones reverberating. Gadaco is very playful. The space people on the ship are very positive, loving beings, and people need to know that. You know, hey John, hey everybody. So I need people to know that personally, you know, I feel Gadaco's energy all day. Matter of fact, today when I was working, I was only concerned for one thing because through my phone with all my customers, I kept hearing the sound that I would hear when Gadaco was coming through. I said, Gadaco, I said, you can't mess with the phone lines here because this is like a big place and you can't do that. Thank God he didn't mess with the phone lines. But I knew it was him. I knew that he was utilizing our phone system, and it was the most. My energy is the same energy I felt when he would come on live with me on here. So he's been with me. You know, we're like, understand something. Gadaco and I go back before Earth a long time. And Gadaco is a pure being of light. When I say pure being of light, I want to tell you this because it's coming from the horse's mouth, because I'm the one who's communicating with him. I'm the one he communicated with to initially start communicating with. So whatever you hear out there on Facebook or anything about this, don't believe it. Unless it comes from me, do not believe it. Okay? Don't believe it. You want to know about Gadaco? Ask me about Gadaco. I'll tell you. Okay? You know my energy. You know my energy. So let me see here who else we got coming in here. Okay, we're going to bring John in here. And hey, good evening, brother.
Hey, what's up, my brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good. You know, I've been getting energy from Gadaco all day. Like this morning,
You want to know?
you
You want to know
know,
why, Commander? It's because the thing is that the ones that are low vibrating, they're going to get a negative vibration from it because they're not having that full belief like you do. Like you said, you're the antenna, you're the receiver, and
yeah,
it's a dual reality. You know what I mean? So if you look at it, and I've been realizing this, that if it's a parallel reality, that there's going to be a positive and a negative on both sides, but it's whatever vibrates with your vibration, yeah, your frequency.
yeah. And the thing is, I mean, I had some people on last night. I couldn't believe they would actually try to do this. Like when I had Gadaco come through, said, "Oh," they said. Then one person said, "Oh, I'm that." I said, "No, don't." I've been around for a lot of years in the spiritual cosmic levels of light, and I said, "No one else is Gadaco. There's no other Gadaco. The Gadaco is on a spaceship. He's a person. He's a living person, and he's my friend. He's my person that I've worked with before coming to Earth on a galactic level. And I love Gadaco, and I love his family from their star system. And I've learned so much from him when I've not been on live. You know, you know, the thing is, people have to realize, Gadaco. If I was not on live that time a month ago, I would have still been contacting Gadaco. He would have been still contacting
Right.
me. We might have, you know, it doesn't matter whether it was here or Facebook or on my radio station. Gadaco is always, and not just Gadaco, his spaceship was near my house last night. You know, Gadaco and I have an
Amazing.
affinity that people need to understand, you know, and I want people to understand this really clearly. He's not some mechanical voice. He's not some robot. He's not
Right.
some whatever people think he is. I want to tell you who he is. He's a living human being with a family, and he is a beautiful being of light. So if anyone has their own perceptions of
You
who
see
he
this,
is, then you're not getting it.
this is where they're getting it. I realized this last night, and it kind of threw me back because I felt bad at first, but then the viewers, they're like, well, that's not the one that you're talking about. This is the one where people are reading into this, and they're getting the wrong effect because they're just looking at it one way. And you know, when he was with you as a pet, you know, like a being when you guys were in school and stuff, he's now coming back as a being now to you. And I think that
And when you mentioned the pet thing, I wasn't getting it because I didn't get that at all. I was getting from my contact that nothing like that. Godico was never like that. I was always so I have to share that I was getting, and I have to go with my feelings always, right?
Right.
That he was never like that, and his what he is, and that's why I'm speaking from truth, is that he was always a tall, spiritual being of light. But our perceptions of what he is based on people's perceptions of their own reality,
Correct.
and so that's what it is. Godica was never a pet. I don't think it's just like me calling you a pet or
No. The
John a
reason why I
pet.
said that is that's where I encountered that name. When I was reading it out of that book, that's why I said it that way. Because that's what I read. I didn't have any connection like you do, and I was just
Yeah,
so if anything came to you by any means about this, you can call me anytime. There's no
yeah. No,
uh,
I'm setting. I just want people to know the truth,
right.
and you
Yeah.
too. I need to tell you that because I'm very disciplined and focused on what I do, and if anything, I hope I can teach you how to be in that Christed consciousness, which is really important as you work with all these things. Because you're being susceptible to a lot of different energies as well,
Correct.
and I tell people all the time, if you have any books in your house that are negative, if you have any paintings or pictures, anything you need to I tell people, even if my closest friends, I say, get rid of it. Get rid of that stuff. You don't need it. Just get rid of it. And I tell people, just get rid of it. If you want to have love and light in your house, you need to have amp up frequencies of crystals, of things that selenite, but beyond all those things that have to have a clarity of consciousness. If people don't have a clarity of consciousness, then, you know, that's not, that's the thing. It needs to be stated. It needs to be clearly stated because I I'm finding there will be people coming in saying, Commander, this or that, and I'm the one who's having the communications and started having communications way before
You did.
anybody knew
Yeah.
about
Right.
Godico. So I want
Right.
to set things straight for people that Godico is always been with me. Um, and it's been a beautiful thing. And I'm always going to make sure and be protective of my space brother because I have to be. I have to always be protective. I don't want anything happening where injections of negative energy are thrown at him. That's not going to happen. I won't let it. I won't let it.
Right.
And people need to be clear about that.
And the reason why I think they got it kind of confused, whoever has, by this time, when you brought it up to me, I said, gotta go. I said, I read a book like this. Have you heard of this? And it says like in the book, the guy named Ilion, and we started talking about it, and then you're like, I wonder how we can get in contact because you have a special way of contacting. And I was like, well,
I
what if we
do.
tried this and we tried that, and then we got these sounds, and you're like, oh, that's the one I heard, and then we went off of that. There was no other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Barring any books and whoever the authors are, I don't really care. Beyond the books, it's not the books that are important. It's the fact that Godico reached out to me after years and
right,
years and years before internet. So the story that I present is a story of cosmic understanding and love and truth. And that's what Godico is. Godico is a space people where he comes from. There is nothing but love, and there's nothing
right,
but an understanding of Christ consciousness, and there's an understanding of peace. I was getting a download today, and my download today was that I was elevated on a certain frequency, and I have to share this with people. People need to know this. And there are people that will try to. I'm sure there'll be people that try to suck the energy from me about this. I'm too hip and been around too long for anyone to suck my energy spiritually. I won't let it happen. I have a protection around me. I have Ashtar Command people that are unseen that protect me. I have my spaceship 10,000 feet above the where I'm located always. So I am well versed in what I'm doing, and I will not let anybody try to divert the truth of what I'm doing or the very beautiful things that are happening because they want to suck that energy out. No one's going to be able to suck any energy out of this broadcast or anything. It just
right,
has to be. It just has to be stated, and I just want people to know that when Godico and I communicate, I now know that not only Godico, but I've also learned that they've activated in my cellular structure the ability to do certain things. Like, now I haven't tested this yet, but I have the ability evidently now to affect energy. And when I say affect energy, I wanted to explain what that is. Okay. I want to explain what that is. What that is the ability to potentially shut down nuclear power plants or shut down nuclear weapon facilities through energy. I don't totally understand it yet, but I'm affecting energy right now. I'm affecting your phone right now, correct?
Mine?
Am I affecting? Yeah, I'm affecting your sound on your phone. I hear it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm affecting it. You're not affecting it, and you affect things through light energy with the water and everything. I'm affecting not only your phone, I'm also affecting other people's communication devices right now. Godico is not doing. Godico is always with me. If anyone in here has their phone being affected, just tell me yes or no right now. This is just a understanding. No, okay. Yes and no. Okay. But that's good. So I'm not affecting a lot of people's phones. But I got the energy frequency situation that I'm still learning. And it could be, so there's yes and no. It's on and off. Everything's okay. Good. So I just want to make it clear. Samsung versus iPhone, laugh. You're James. So I know as this thing becomes the way it is, and I know as this whole communications is happening here that's not happening on YouTube or wherever, I know people are going to come in and they're going to be egotistical people here saying, "Oh, Commander, it's me. I'm the one communicating with you." Don't try to do that, folks. Whoever you are out there, I'm too hip. I've been around too many blocks, and I'm just going to have you blocked out of here and muted if you try to do that. So, I wasn't born yesterday, So people need to know that.
The message I want to share with you is: do you remember when I was talking to you about the messages of the 1 through 6?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so it says that the next chapter of is unstoppable, and yet the greatest revolutions sometimes originate from the confines of impossibility, do they not? Reality is a simulation. Break the code, and in doing so, escape the inescapable. The Amunis was humankind's first unconscious attempt to explain what it could not see. Understanding genetic memories and eye history, and eye into history, your Amunis is different. Your avatar, I'm thinking that's what the Amunis is. As is in the mind, it is imagined. It could escape the code. It could make the leap that the possible decision that defies the order of things that the way they are. It is ridiculous to imagine that I could change the nature of reality out there, but if it takes one within that confines of your avatar, the simulation within, so-called simulation. But I I understand what this voice is telling me, and that's what brought me to you. I was like, I wonder if that's what it was relating to. And my Amunis is now endowed in the ability to suggest alterations to days long past from any moment into time. I can extrapolate what might have been calculations of time. I am not confined to what was, but could have been. So yesterday was real for me. Facts do matter, but from time to time, moment in time, I choose within the Amunis or the avatar, I can interrogate my memory. I can.
Uh-oh.
I can interrogate my memory. I can ask the world, what if Bayek, it's beat. Bayek and AYA, that's the two names, had stayed together. What if, and this is another name I don't know, had not been murdered?
I don't know what that all is about. Let me stop you. The only thing that's really important is not any of these books. What's important is the reality of what's happening. That's, these books will have no relationship to my communications with Godico and the space people. There is no, there has to be an understanding. If I can teach anybody anything out here, everybody needs to operate in Christ consciousness. The Christ consciousness is the focus. If everybody will just learn how to operate in the Christ consciousness, all of your communications in that frequency will be beautiful. But you have to be willing to focus on Christ consciousness. That is the key. Now, let's see if somebody else wants to come in here. Freedom. Okay, we'll be bringing some people on here in a minute. But, I just really feel after all this time, as things get growing the way whoops. Okay, let's see here. Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to bring on Friends of Furry and Skip to Grace. Okay, what's going on here? I can't see anybody. Oh, wait a minute.
In the name of God, Lord Jesus, please send your angels of protection over all of us, all of the viewers, Lord. Do not allow any of that negative energy to seep into anybody here, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. Woo! I had to clear that shit.
Amen.
Yeah, I amped up my light energy so high that things shifted.
Yeah, the darkness runs from the light.
So hey, Friends with Furry, and hey,
guys.
John. Hey, James. I'm getting everybody's names confused here. I don't need to. I love everybody. I have to operate in the frequency of love, and I will continue to do that. And I send John love and healing energies and love, because that's who I am. You're right. I'd be a hypocrite if I wasn't that way.
Love.
And that's my mission is love. That's the main frequency of love for everyone.
Amen, Commander.
Oh, okay, Grace. That's okay. But like I said, I got a download today. I knew Godico when I was working in my call center. I started hearing the phone doing what it does when I'm on here. I'm saying, Godico, don't play with the phone line here because I got customers calling. I was like, don't play with the phone line. But I knew he was there. And, when I was in James's room this morning enjoying his birthday, Godico was playing with some people's phones. And I was like, okay, he's playing with the phones again. I just said, people, don't worry about it. He's just playing with your phones. And I was reverberating on some other people's phones. So I was kind of like, okay, James, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. And so it's all good. And we just have to look at the things. I was also meditating about the contact that we're going to be getting together. And Friends with Furries, you're invited on April 13th to join us down here. I'm sure we can find you a place to stay for the night with some of the people in our group.
Awesome.
Yeah, so you're invited. You're really important to be there.
Oh, it's not my birthday, guys. It's
Happy
yes,
birthday,
you are.
James.
No. It's not my birthday. It's the other host. Yes, you are. His name is James. It's
James,
not my
the other
birthday.
James.
My birthday's in July.
If James comes in tonight, James the Orb guy had a birthday today, so I didn't know it until I came in his room. Yes, you are. It was his birthday. Beautiful, beautiful being of light, James is. And
Yes,
not to say James isn't a beautiful being.
No, but it is Yes, You Are's birthday. James, make sure you guys wish him a happy birthday, even though that was technically yesterday. But, we're going on a 3D calendar anyway.
Yeah, but when we talk about what's happening, as we get close to the experiment, and April's not that far away, I kept having visions of what that would be like as a group when we get together in the field to be beamed up on a spaceship. And, there's going to be a lot of people between now and April that are going to say, oh, Commander, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And, strangers that will come into my live And I've been around, like people have to know, James knows that I've been around a long time on this trip. And I'm pretty hip to everything. And when I hear people say, Commander, I'm the one doing it. You're not doing anything. I'm the one doing it. You're not doing anything. Right?
Yes,
It's
sir.
just like if James does a podcast, I'm not doing his podcast. He's doing his podcast.
Oh, we don't want. I had somebody from your show come and listen to my podcast, and they were scarred for life. Don't advertise that here. These are good people.
Oh, yeah, okay.
These are good, wholesome people. We don't need them listening to that garbage.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
But anyway, it's all good. I just think as I get in tonight more into the program, it's just people need to know that we have some beautiful things coming, and we have some beautiful intergalactic contacts coming in the future on this planet. And every one of you are going to be participants in that, right? Every one of you are going to have an experience, and you have to be patient. Your experience will come when it's going to come. It's like a wave. You know how you go to the beach and you look at the waves coming in, and that little wave comes in, and then a bigger ocean wave comes in? There'll be a wave for you. There's a wave for everybody. And people just need to understand that wave is coming. Everyone has a personal relationship with their galactic family. When I use the word galactic family, Gadico knows what that is. And there's a great love I have for his family because we've known each other. I have a great love for life. I have a great love for all the planetary systems of light. And it's just a beautiful thing, I know
Excuse me,
Gadico's,
Commander.
yeah. Oh, Gadico, can you unmute Friends of Furry's mic?
I think she was excusing herself because she had to step out for a second. Hey,
great. I think he unmuted her mic. Look at the microphone; it's unmuted.
Base is requesting a cosmic reset, so we got to see if there's anybody in the chat that's got a contact story.
Yeah. James, you didn't see it, but I just had Gadico unmute Friends of Furry's microphone. Everyone see that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't even know. I don't even think she's by
Friends of Furry, did you know that I had Gadico unmute your mic when you walked away from it?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, she walked away from her mic.
Gadico,
thank you. I just wanted people to know everything that's going on is real here. So that's why I did that. Not so much because I wanted to see if, you walked away from your microphone. So now people know that my brother Gadico on his spaceship and we do fun things like this. Like we can, there's a lot of things I'm learning. So I want to have guests on, but I got to talk to Gadico about this one question. Gadico, I felt like I was downloaded or activated on some level where eventually I'll be able to, I don't know why, and I'm not sure, I've never tested this, but eventually just by putting my hand up or coming by thought that we can shut down nuclear missile silos just by thought. Is that what's happening here? One tap for yes, or do you want to speak? One tap for yes, two taps for no?
No.
Hold on a second. Listen. Seriously. No, this is, okay. So Gadico, I was getting, this is serious for people to understand. I'm not saying this lightly or with any ego, but I was feeling like I was activated today in a different way. Like I was activated to be able to do something, and I don't know yet how that works. Did I get activated where I can just, if I go near something like a nuclear missile silo and I want to shut it down, I can shut it down with my energy? One tap for yes, two taps for no? I'm waiting to hear something. Okay. Gadico, are you there? Was that you? Was anybody tapping?
No. My dog is sniffing at the door. I'm sorry.
Oh, yes. Gadico. So the question is, did you activate something in my an activation of energy that I can potentially, if this is possible, I'd love to be able to do it just with my hand, turn off the energy of a nuclear silo. 1 tap for yes, 2 taps for no. I just heard 1 tap for yes. I just want to I didn't want to think I'm going nuts here. So I want to be accurate with my information. Okay, so I'm going to have to work this out. Gadico, you're going to have to help me. I don't know how that works, but I feel humble if that is something that has been activated in my cellular structure of my physical form, that just by thought or by hand, I can affect the electrical system of a nuclear silo if I was near one and shut it down. Thank you for letting me know that. So there's no ego here. I'm just trying to understand things and learn things. So if I'm ever near a nuclear silo, I don't think I need to be near a nuclear silo to shut it down. I think I'm just able to shut it down, but I have to learn what that is. I would like to shut down every nuclear silo system around the planet, but I have to figure out how to do that remotely. I have to figure that out. I have to really figure that out. So I just want to welcome everybody to the show. I'm very amped up here. I'm extremely amped up, you know? And we will interview people that have stories to tell. I loved Friends with Furries when you talked about the ship the other night over the mountain.
Yeah,
That was
it was
Gadico's
pretty
ship.
awesome.
Very awesome, you know?
Yeah, because it actually had changed shapes a few times.
Yeah.
It came like, it looked like, at first it looked like almost like a partial moon shape, and then it turned long, like oblong, and then it actually looked like a star.
Yeah.
But like a sun star, though, not like the way that I think somebody described it differently, but the way it looked like, it turned into, like, it looked like a burst of sun. It was quite pretty, and it is actually turning different colors, blues and reds and greens and oranges, and it was quite beautiful, and it was really bright, really bright. It was quite something to see, actually. I mean, to see it with the eyes, the camera did not do it justice at all. It was really pretty.
And good night, John. Have a good night, brother. And, so we send you Christ with love and light, as always. So it was very pretty. And I still have this image of Friends with Furry, the actual ship. And it's a beautiful ship. It's a very beautiful ship that they have. It's a very big ship, too.
Yeah, it looked like, I remember him saying something at one point. I don't remember when, but there's been so much communication with him that he said that it was a large ship, and that it wasn't the same dimensions as we know. But this thing looked like it changed, like it was capable of changing shapes. So it's kind of like sinking in that our dimensions aren't the same as theirs, that they have the capability, like, probably it looks really small, but once you get in it, it's probably huge, because their stuff isn't the same as ours.
Yeah, I think that is true. And hey, Loretta Yaya, good to see you, sister of light. Yes, you are. You're right here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I see you. I see you.
Thank you.
And say hello to Friends with Furry. You know her and James down the rabbit hole.
Hello.
Yes, I do. Hello. Hello.
I've never met a lovely lady before. Hello.
Hello, John. James, how are you?
Good. I'm just joking.
But all these things are happening, and like I said earlier, Gadico was definitely with me when I was working today. Probably like half the day. I said, Gadico, focus on doing something other than, playing with my phones at work. I don't want anybody to knowing at work that could you imagine if Gadico shut down the electricity in our building and the phones went out and people came wondering what happened? I said, I don't know. I know nothing.
I don't think he would, because I think he enjoys the music because he was
No, he
forcing
wouldn't
me
do
to
that.
listen to
But
it.
I was definitely amped up. I was definitely no. It's like when people on here and Gotico does the reverbing effect. I felt like when I spoke, I heard my voice like a moment after the customer would talk. I'm saying, I know Gotico's with me. He's hanging out in my work today. And I'm like, this is good. But hey, welcome. And then Loretta, what would you like to kind of share with us tonight?
I kind of wish I was here when John was here because
Yeah.
I was there last night in his room when certain things happened, and it was very unfortunate, and I felt that it was wrong how it happened,
Mm-hmm.
and I did a little research on these two gals, and um, I think there was other intentions involved.
Yeah,
And
I wasn't there for it. So I just been trying to move on from it. You know
okay,
me.
I apologize then.
I just want to move. No, it's okay. But I
I
understand what
have faith.
happened.
I have
You
faith
know,
in God.
because Guideco, like I told John, Guideco communicated with me
Yeah,
way before I was on here talking about it, and so people have to know that Guideco was with me even before I came to Earth
I
when I
trust
was on
I
Mars.
completely. I have
So yeah,
I have no fear. I trust absolutely
yeah,
100% in my heart.
yeah, and understand when I'm communicating with Guideco, it's from the source. It's not coming
Yes.
from other places. It's coming directly from me. I don't
And
channel anything. I never will channel anything or anyone. I
I
tell
trust
people don't channel. Don't begin to channel. Don't even learn how to channel.
no.
Communicate with your higher self. Communicate with the level of who you are.
And that's what
There's
we're
so many
supposed
people.
to
Well, there's so many people are yearning for contact, but they
patient.
have to know how to do it the right way. You can't just say, "Oh, I want to have contact with someone." You gotta be disciplined. You gotta work in Christ consciousness. If you don't work in Christ consciousness, don't try to make contact with somebody from outer space.
That's right.
Just don't do it.
And from your heart. When I don't know if I ever told you my story with the orbs I seen, and it was the most loving it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and I came outside, and I'm always, my husband always says, what are you always looking up in the clouds for, or why are you always looking up? And
Right.
and I miss him now. I seen five the most beautiful opalescent orbs, and it shot across my sky one time,
Yeah.
and I thought that was it. And I said, don't go, come back. And another one shot, and then
Yeah.
another one shot, and then one shot over my house, and another one shot over my house. And
Yeah. See,
I ended up crying because it was such an emotional, loving feeling.
what that is when that happens, they're saying, "Here we are. We're your star family. You see us. We see you. We're just letting you know we're here." And your star family will let you know you're here if you are tuned in. A lot of people on Earth have to understand something. You're not tuned in. You're tuned out. You're basically tuned into everything around you, but you're not tuned in to the most important part of you, which is the inner self. The inner self of you, not the brain. The inner self. Most people don't connect with the inner self. I call it the light body within the body of the human body. Most people don't realize they do have a light body within the body or the higher self. But if they were to learn, if people were willing to learn and take time to learn how to connect with that higher vibrational consciousness,
Yeah.
instead of thinking about it, they would be able to connect with their star family, wherever that planetary system is. They'd be able to do it. Like Gadako and I, when we speak of these things, when Gadako does eventually verbalize, when he does verbalize, it's all in a level of frequency that is of a higher vibrational pattern. And, if Gadako were sitting next to me on the show, we'd be having a conversation about not only frequency, but we'd be talking about the higher levels of light and how people live on other planets in that state of consciousness. So if I had Gadako sitting here, Gadako would be able to interact with me, and someday he will, be able to go on my phone and speak and be right here. That day will come. I'm absolutely certain of it. And Godico knows when the time is right, he will, if he wants to, bring him and 2 or 3 other people from the spaceship to speak, they will be able to speak, and they will be able to speak on their behalf. It won't be interpretations of what Godico is or says. It'll be directly from Godico. And no problem, James.
Yeah, I interrupt you. I got to run and take care of something real quick. I'll come back on.
No, I know that. You'll be here. And like Friends with Fairies understand, she has a very high frequency in Vermont where she is. She's in a section that is a very high frequency of light. And that's why she is holding the grid in that part of Vermont on the earth where Godico and the spaceships came and other being the fairies and all that stuff is going on, because she holds very pure light. Her essence is very pure. And when you have a very pure essence of light, everyone has that ability to get there. If I can do anything for anyone out here in my years of experience as a contactee, as being involved in this and coming out of the closet from Mars, is that everybody comes from some other planet. Yes, you're born on Earth, but you're not from Earth. But you have to understand it, and you don't have to believe it until you understand it. You have to understand it first before you believe it. Because to believe something without understanding it is just a belief. If you understand it, then you believe it, then the 2 things come together. Right?
See, for me, it took me to stop searching so hard outside of myself, and it took me to start searching within myself, and just trying to trying to live my life in love and being giving, and just stop searching outside of outside in the world,
Right.
outside of everything else, and look to myself. And that's when things started really like making sense to me. That's when I started to open up, and these beings started to show themselves to me, when I stopped working so hard at worrying about everything that was going on around me, and worrying about loving myself, and then trying to share that love with others.
Yes. That's it. You've said it. That's the key thing. What she just said is the key to your connection. If you stop worrying about everything around you and you start focusing within yourself, you'll realize that you're not just a human being having a human experience. Now, that terminology has been around for a lot of years. A human being having a human experience, a human being having a spiritual experience, all these cliche words, right? The words are meaningless unless you live it. Okay? You can have a nice title, but unless you live who you are, you're not who you are. You're just living and going about things on a planetary system called Earth, doing what everybody else does. When you become more than who you think you are, when you become able to realize self-realization that you are not from Earth, that you don't just have a mother and father, or grandmother, or grandfather, a brother and a sister biologically, but that you come from something much greater than yourself, that's when you wake up, right? That's when you wake up. That's when you understand everything and anything. And you still grow without ego, right?
Absolutely. I'm 60 and I forgot what ego was. I find myself in more joy when I'm doing what I love to do, and it's my gardening, or if it's my coloring. I learned how to, that was, like you said, you can hear those words all the time, and you go within yourself, but it is a beautiful thing when you start loving yourself and realize how beautiful you really are, and be patient with yourself, because once you get in tune with who you are and realize your higher self is another higher version of you, more or less trying to, help you to connect. And the more you surrender and yearn to be a vessel, to be an example. You want to be the change you want to see. Things start lighting up for you naturally,
Yes.
and it becomes such a beautiful. My life is beautiful because I live it very, very quietly. I live it. I live with nature. I live with, I try to help as much as I can, and I try to show love wherever I go, because if you can't be that pillar you're walking in,
Right.
nobody, people will lose connection, and we just have to be a better versions of ourselves and examples to everyone, not just the collective.
Yeah. And that's really important to understand. That's why, as we proceed forward in this year, 2024, we're in a very important year, people, everyone watching the show. This is Encounters, just to let people know, the late night spiritual UFO show, the #1 show on social media. And we're here to tell you that to lead into what you're saying, as we go into this year more and more, you're going to have things happen that you've never seen happen on the planet Earth. You're going to have things more or less happen to you personally. I would say most everybody here at some point this year is going to have an awakening. You might be already awake, which is great. You might be just waking up. When I say waking up, I'm not talking about like going physically to sleep and waking up and watching my show. I'm talking about waking up on a completely spiritual, cosmic level that you've never been before. I think everybody's going to have that experience. It's not exclusive to one person. It's inclusive to everybody.
Absolutely.
Agatico, who's here with us right now, would tell you that they're excited to see humanity wake up. Right, Agatico? 1 tap for yes, 2 taps for no. He just tapped.
Yeah.
And I know the people on his spaceship are listening and watching this. So understand, we have a big audience here, not just on this social media, but on Gatico's spaceship. Everyone is hearing my words. Everyone is seeing what I'm doing on their spaceship. So we're not just broadcasting on TikTok, we're broadcasting to the galactic universe. And those that are connected in the Christed levels of light are all listening to what I'm saying. Because what I'm saying comes from a very high level of consciousness. What I'm saying comes from a very high level of understanding. Boots, I think it's Boots J has a question. Boots J, what's your question? So we have a question here we'll try to answer. Let's see what the question is.
A big thing is too, our almighty creator says, no one's left behind. Everybody's given the chance. Everyone will have the chance to wake up, and you just have to have faith in that.
It says, why do astonish? I don't understand that. Can you explain what that means? Why do astonish? Can you put that into a question? I don't understand. Do you astonish? I can't understand the question. Yeah, we'll be taking more Freedom Shapes. We'll be taking more guests in a few minutes. I don't want to get too crazy on the screen here, so I'm gonna. We have plenty of time to bring people forth here, and we will definitely. I promise.
Kit Kat has a question.
Oh, Kit Kat. Let me get down to Kit Kat. Can Gatico and his people read our comments? Gatico, can you read people's comments in the room?
He was already tapping yes. before you even asked him. He said yes. I heard that one.
Gatico can, yes, I heard the tap. Gatico can read every comment in this room from his spaceship. I have a question. Christopher, what's your question? I figured you'd like that, Kit Kat. And I think Christopher has a question. Christopher?
Boots put up her question again.
I'll try to catch all your questions here. Gatico, Kit Kat says, we love you. Susan Mary, thank you. Gatico, Kit Kat says she loves you. He just had 3 taps. Kit Kat, he loves you too. Hey, and Linda says hi. 2, they see galaxies past what's supposed to be the edge of the universe last in the Big Bang. So let me explain something about that. There's no edge of the universe. I'm going to explain something to you because I come from another planetary system. Even though
sorry, dog. Sorry.
that was great. Your dog is barking because the dog knows I'm going to say something that's true. Thank you, dog. Very nice. But let me explain it in all seriousness. What you've been taught about the universe is incorrect from scientific space studies on your planetary system. Now I'm going to go into my galactic consciousness. I'm going to switch gears for a moment. Like I say, I can switch my consciousness to any level I wish to change it to. It'll never go low, but I can switch it to any level I wish to change it to, and I'm going to change it to a consciousness to answer your question. The universe, there's no edge of any universe. That's what they teach you in science and space science on Earth. It's a limitation. It's a limited understanding of the universe. Every universe, every dimension, every parallel universe, they're endless. Everything is endless. That's the thing. But on Earth, you've been taught to believe that there is an end to everything when there's no end to anything. There's no end and there's no beginning. Now, I know that's a hard concept for people on Earth, but there is no end and there's no beginning. What does that mean to your question? And I read your question again. And there was no Big Bang. The Big Bang is something instituted on Earth-based science. You know, there are people that have the argument that there is no God and there's a Big Bang. Throw it out the window. God exists. There's no end. There's no beginning. One time, and Godico is going to be interested in when I on my radio show did this a long time ago, I asked the question, who created God? I did this, and when I got deeply into thought about who created God, I just came up with the answer, God just is. God just exists. Just accept that God is. God just is. God is everywhere. God just is. So if you ever try to ask yourself the question, who created God? God just is. You know? And don't put your mind too hard on that question. Because I did at one time a couple of years ago. I was on my radio show. I asked, who created God? In my galactic consciousness, God just is. And if everybody just accepts the beauty that God just is, the creator just is, you know, it's just the way it is. Don't try to figure it out. Because if you go by earth-based understandings of God, you're going to be very limited in your understandings of God. God has no box to be in. God is not in a box or in a jar. God is everywhere.
And the space beings also, when they were verbally speaking, they had said, God is within us all.
Yes. You see, that's what Earth humans forget. God is within all of you. Now, if Godico could speak, he would probably say, yes, Commander, you're right. He just tapped once to say yes. So Godico's with me tonight, my friend on the ship. And like I said, when I speak, I always want to speak from a galactic understanding of truth. I don't channel anything. I just know what I know. Everything I know is from being from not this planet. Everything I remember is from when I came here. You know, the word activation, what does that mean? When a human being is activated, when you activate yourself, truly activated, your consciousness will shift to a high frequency. When it does that, you will know everything you need to know at that point about whatever that is. And as you keep increasing and awakening in different frequencies of consciousness, you start to know more. We never stop learning. I know Godico and the galactic space people, when they come traveling through the universe, they're always learning. They never stop learning either. You know? Godico's tapping, and I know if he was with me, we'd be hugging each other. I'd be hugging all the space people on the ship right now. Yes. So understand, my being on Earth is for a reason here. Coming in human form was easy. Busting the matrix is not always easy. There are other people from other planetary systems. Some of them came off ships. I came in through biological connections between two humans. There are other people that were secretly dropped off from spaceships over the years. I came this way. I could have come directly off a ship. I came this way. This is the experience I chose. I can tell you that it's been a beautiful experience, but it's also been hard to see the things, how people treat each other on the planet Earth, how people act with each other. But here, doing this live, here on TikTok, in my galactic consciousness, I see the beauty of all humans, of all people, that you're more than just who you are. I see the beauty and the love that you really truly have in your hearts. And that's the thing that's going to get you through this period of change. When I say change, we're talking about a galactic change, a cosmic, revolutionary change of consciousness. So you're going to feel all kinds of things this year. You're going to have some beautiful experiences. You're going to have some things you're going to let go of that are the old parts of you that you don't wish to be anymore. You might have relationships that disappear and come. You're going to connect with people that are connected in the higher levels of consciousness. And I would tell people to choose your friends wisely. Now, choose your friends wisely and realize the beauty of that light that you are. I'm in a different frequency right now. I'm talking from my cosmic galactic understandings of light. The humming you're hearing, are you hearing humming, Friends with Prairie? And
Yes.
Okay, that's the spaceship. Gatico, is your ship near me at the moment? One tap for yes. Gatico, is your spaceship near me? I heard one tap. So their ship has been near me last night. And I mean, when I say near me, it's not above my house, but it's high up in the Earth atmosphere.
I've been thinking about this, Commander, a little bit. I'm wondering if they're not here, like waiting for the rest of them to show up, because if they were saying, if Godico was saying that there's going to be many beings around the world showing up, I wonder if they're not showing up slowly but surely and waiting, if they're not waiting for the rest of them to come for this thing to happen.
Yes, they are. There are many here now. To answer somebody's question, and thank you, Rachel, for responding to Josh's question. Josh, so this is my space friend Godico, and they're from the star system constellation Sirius. And there are, the things you hear on the internet, throw it out the window. I'm a contactee. My friend from space is from a planetary system that you see in the star system Sirius. But there are many beings of light from many planetary systems. So whatever you've heard it probably from the internet, throw it out the window. I'm glad you're here. You're going to learn some things here tonight. That goes for a lot of the new people that are coming here on this show. What you're hearing here is real, not fantasy, not channeled information, not from other websites or other people's egos. Everything we share with you here comes from a galactic truth. Everything we tell you here is going to be straight on the money. Godico, do you have anything you wish to interject? He said no, he didn't have anything to interject. So the spaceship is Mm, I'm getting slightly to the east, up all the way up in the atmosphere to the east, to the mm, southeast. Gatico, your ship's in the southeastern sky, correct? He just tapped once. So his ship is in the southeastern portion of the night sky.
You know, when he taps, your screen blinks. The blue,
Yeah.
around the screen, it
Yeah.
blinks. That's cute. That's cool.
Yeah. When he's here, when he's with me, my screen blinks. So,
Yeah.
um, actually, the vibrational patterns of energy are affecting my phone. When I speak, when I don't,
And it's
you see that? My vibrational voice affects my phone. The reason why you can't hear him because he's not speaking. If you can hear him tap, if Romeo, you hear him tap, that's the mode of communications right now. Although, if Gadico wanted to speak, and his ship was really closer to my location of my house, or cloaked or something, he can actually speak.
Yeah, he can come
We've
across me.
Gadico has spoke. Friends and fairies will tell you we have heard him when we're not speaking, lowly in a low voice speak.
Yes, he does. He's done it a lot. Like if he's closer by, you can actually
Right.
hear him and the people on his ship.
Yes. And Gadico has one daughter and I believe 3 sons, if I'm correct. Gadico, am I correct about that again? He said yes. So I look forward, Gadico, when we go on the ship to meeting your family and our group of ambassadors to the Earth. I want to tell people who are new here, we are going to be experimenting in April with being taken aboard their spaceship. This is not like some movie or sci-fi or science fiction thing. We are going to do something that in this current history has not been done by anyone that I know of. Okay. And what we're going to do with our group, Friends of Furries, is part of that. Chesno, Grace, a number of people in our New England area that are all very much in a frequency of Christ consciousness and work within the Ashtar contact group that we have here. We're going to go live on Facebook, not on Facebook, on TikTok, and at least let you see whatever we see from the outside of the spaceship. And this is an experiment. And what does that mean? It means that we're experimenting with the idea, and also with Godico, it's an experiment too, to see how this works from their angle of it, from their spaceship and us on the ground, how we're going to logistically make this work. But you know what? The one thing I do understand, that if it does happen, it'll be the most beautiful thing for the people of Earth, and we will be the best representatives of this planet to represent all of you in the most beautiful way. No ego, just love. Right? When we come back to Earth, our goal is to hopefully have enough knowledge and information from whatever Godico and the space people of the galactic levels want us to share. We'll bring it back to Earth and we'll share it with you. Okay? That's a promise we will do. You know, that's something we care about everybody. You know, so I've been thinking every day I'm getting myself prepared for potential contact. Every day I'm getting myself mentally prepared for what it's going to be like to actually meet people on a spaceship from another world. Okay. Yes, Lacey, we'll be coming back. We're going to be off planet for about 2 hours. Let me ask Godico, are we talking 2 hours Earth time? Yes or no? A big tap. Here to tap. 2 hours Earth time. 2 hours Earth time, people. And so it's a beautiful thing to commune with our brothers and sisters from another planetary system, from the galactic levels of light. You see? It's just a lot of love, you see. And when you feel that love, I know Friends with Furry does feel it, and so does a lot of people in this room watching my show. You're watching a show that has gone from just when it came here being a spiritual UFO talk show with interviews to now being having a responsibility far more than important than just even the interviews. I have a great responsibility now that I didn't have before. I have a responsibility to be the best unconditional loving person that I can be. We all have to be that way because that's the way, right? That's the way to be. You know,
That's a beautiful thing, Commander. That is really beautiful.
the whole energy field is shifted. You know, I'm always in that frequency, but I feel so much love, so much love. You know, love is something beyond words. In truth, when you travel the universe to other planetary systems, love sometimes has no words. It's a feeling, you know? It's a feeling. When you leave the earth and travel for the first time, you will see many things you've never seen before in your life as a human being in this form. I can't imagine what our group will be seeing. I can only imagine how beautiful the experience will be and how we'll finally have a relationship with people from other worlds that are here for the purpose of love and light. But that is the true purpose of our being. You know,
I can't wait.
we got off a little bit off the track on this planet for billions of years. We've been kind of on and off the track. We get on the track, we get off the track, we get on the track. Now it's time to get back on the track. Now it's time to start walking up the mountain. Now it's time to start getting to the top of the mountain and not falling. You know?
Absolutely.
That's what it's about.
Love is just
I think
so fascinating.
Somebody's saying they were.
You can let me down if you want. You can bring someone else.
Okay, I'll bring Freedom up. Hey Loretta, thank you for being here. We love you.
Thank
And we'll bring Freedom up and let him come in. Hey Freedom.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Hi.
Good to
We're
be
doing
here.
good. Good to see you, man. It's been a while.
It's been a minute. Yeah, good to see you again. Yeah. God, I got so caught up with what you were saying, I forgot what I was doing up here, honestly.
Well, we got my friend Godico on the spaceship, and we're getting ourselves prepared for April to experiment with going on the ship and being taken off planet for about 2 hours.
Good Lord. That sounds like quite an adventure.
Oh yeah, it will be. We're very
You
very much into that whole now.
something that you were talking about that was really interesting to me is, well, I guess the Christ consciousness aspect. So basically, I'm a researcher, and I've been trying to make sense of this phenomenon for 20 years. Okay. And I found some really compelling evidence, but my evidence and what I'm doing mostly falls along with what I call the community of gnomes, or like small, short statured humanoid entities. And through this research, I've found so many different parallels. And when you talk about Christ consciousness, and, I think that you're right about the paradigm shift. And I think what's happening here is that we are entering a new metaphysical framework. And I think that our governments and other governments across the planet have already figured out this metaphysical framework, and they're afraid to let us have at it, for lack of a better word. And this new metaphysical framework is that of consciousness being the fundamental property of reality, not material. So right now we're operating on the metaphysics of materialism, right? We think that the Big Bang happened, and then matter was created from the Big Bang, and those subatomic particles organized themselves in a specific way, which gave emergence to our consciousness. But I think what we're figuring out now is actually that's not what happened, and consciousness is the fundamental aspect, and what we call matter is just an illusion
Mm-hmm.
given to us by evolutionary fitness payoffs. Now, these evolutionary fitness payoffs make it seem like we're around reality, but that's just the survival thing from the dissociative process, from being dissociated from the source, or what you call Christ consciousness.
Right. There's exactly the point is on Earth, the diversion in current human history, forgetting billions of years back, we have to deal with our own history here, is that we've been subverted in our schooling. And I can tell you this from going to school in the 60s, that all the textbooks, all the things we were taught were about success, that you have to be successful at doing something. And that was the origin of what parents would teach you, what their parents taught them. That's all we knew. This is what you have to be. This is how being a human is on Earth. You become a millionaire. You go to Wall Street. You do this. You do that. But in fact, that was the illusion. That was the misinformation. We didn't know anything because we're taught only one way. That was the matrix that we were in. And now we're busting it. That's why I'm big about busting every single matrix, including people's belief systems. I don't care who they
Absolutely.
are.
Yeah, and I think there's a really great book that explains how paradigm shifts work. He invented the term paradigm shift. His name's Thomas Kuhn, and his book is Evolution of Nature. I don't remember what the book's called. Oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
it's so embarrassing, but it doesn't matter. It's a great book. And what he discusses is how paradigm shifts happen and scientific revolutions happen. And
Mm.
he, and this is what always happens. So, first we had the three axioms of Aristotelian logic and Aristotle saying that, the earth was made of, or all matter was made up of certain elements: earth, wind, fire, and water, right? We realized that that paradigm was wrong, and we had Newtonian mechanics. And Newtonian mechanics said that everything was made up of little billiard balls, little atoms, and those things, depending on their mass, charge, spin, and momentum, created physics, right? Created what the Earth is around us. And then Einstein came along and busted open that paradigm. And what happens in these paradigms, and that's the paradigm we're in right now. We're in the
Yeah.
paradigm of quantum mechanics and relativity. And what happens with these paradigms is that everything works fine. We solve all the simple problems and we get massive progress with technology and things like this. And then we run into anomalies, problems that cannot be solved in that paradigm. Normal science,
Right.
he has the term normal science is conducted under a paradigm. Normal science is trying to, prove that that paradigm exists. We run into anomalies. Those anomalies lead to what's called a crisis. Those crises lead to paradigm shift. And right now, physics is in a state of crisis. And we know this because in 2022, three physicists won the Nobel Peace Prize in
Right.
physics for proving that local realism is false, meaning that matter is not
Right.
locally real. It's entangled with our consciousness, which is
And actually, matter is universal. Say on Earth, we always put things in our own perspective because we're human. Everything has to relate around. I mean, I remember people that would say to me, and I never understood it. They would say, "Oh, why would anyone come here from another world to visit us? Since we're not, why would Then there are these people that would say to me, "Oh, this is the only planet that has life on it." I'd start laughing inside and saying, "Are you kidding me? Are you going to sit there and tell me in this Earth life that this is the only planet that God created life and that all the other planets are just empty little planets in the multiverse?" Those people were so much in the matrix that they couldn't get out of it. They're so stuck in it. And there are people like that around the planet that are stuck in that thing. So when we talk about atoms, molecular structure, it's all universal. It's not on one planet. It's everywhere.
well,
God didn't just say Earth, it's one planet. Here you are. This is it. That's the misinformation.
right, and I agree, and I think you can even go further than that. And I think that we have to listen to the physics that are winning the Nobel prizes that are saying, look, this isn't even real at all. What is real, what is fundamentally actually real, is your experience or a conscious experience in general. All of this other stuff is just an evolutionary illusion. Evolution itself is real in the 3D space paradigm that we're in, but 3D space paradigm is just what I call a
Right.
substructure. A substructure is the human limitations of conception brought on by what we call evolution. But evolution is merely just an artifact through the dissociative process. And I know those are a lot of big
And, it
words.
al-
I know that's
and
complicated.
also the thing evolution. When I've heard people have these arguments on TikTok, I don't get involved in it. They're so limited in their understanding that they don't understand there's no evolution in the way they think it is. Like the people that think that the planet Earth had, that we came from an amoeba and became human, that's all false information. That's part of the matrix. We came from the stars. We didn't come from little amoebas and little fish jumping out of the water. People that was taught in our science books. That's the misinformation. Coming from Mars, I can tell people the human information that you were taught on this planet was totally incorrect.
What if I were to say that
Is
stars don't even exist? It's just mental states. And that I think is what is really difficult for people to kind of grasp. That instead of matter and stars creating consciousness, it's actually consciousness creating the illusion of matter. Matter itself is non-existent. We're all one consciousness that is experiencing itself through what I call dissociation, or what is called dissociation, through philosophy, in philosophy. And this process of dissociation creates the boundaries between me, all the other things that are in existence. Right. This
right,
process of dissociation helps me realize that I'm not the floor. That there's a difference between grapes and
right,
feces, so I can
an apple
survive,
or
which is to
whatever.
be remain dissociated from the whole, the thing in of itself. The thing
And
in of
even though
itself.
you are freedom, and even though you're human, and Francis Frere is human, and I'm human, on one level we are human. But as I said to people, when you work in, and I'm going to take it from my standpoint of a multi-level consciousness, which I operate in many different consciousnesses: Christ consciousness, Martian consciousness, human consciousness. I can switch over to any consciousness I operate in within a nanosecond. When you get to that level of consciousness, everything else becomes an illusion. Everything around you becomes an illusion. Because in truth, I read energies. That's another thing. When I read energies of people, I'll quietly read the energies. Okay, that's who you are. You know, but when you start to be able to be a galactic human being, when I say galactic, that means you're fully awakened. Now, you didn't get it from somebody's website. You didn't follow somebody in some group or something. You got it from your inner self. This is the most important thing, that people tune into themselves. People don't do that. They tune into this person making a big speech on a spiritual platform or whatever. People need to learn to connect with themselves in order to facilitate the ability to become galactically awakened in a spiritual way.
Absolutely. And I think that anyone that's had these experiences realize that, you know, it, you get taken right out of the experience as soon as you stop focusing on yourself. As soon as any
Right.
alternate thing comes in place, these entities want nothing to do with you. For some reason, yeah, everything is within yourself because you are a dissociated fractal of the whole source of existence.
Mm-hmm.
Your consciousness is just a small portion of the consciousness at large, which makes up all of reality, and you've been tricked to thinking you're just this one aspect of it. But really, we're
Mm-hmm.
sharing the consciousness. And what's interesting about psychedelics, boundary dissolution, meditation, things like this, is what it does is it decreases the activity in your brain. Okay. And for some reason, when you decrease the activity in your brain, you have what's called the mystical experience, the experience that you're interacting with entities, things that materialism cannot explain, things that modern science cannot explain. Well,
Right.
what's happening is that the brain is really a reducing valve of consciousness. It's reducing the the outer layers of consciousness that will be too complicated for you to see if for survival. So the brain is an evolutionary process that's blocking things out, and when you turn it down or off, you begin
Right.
reassociating your identity with these other things. And when you do that in small levels, like through psychedelics and boundary dissolution and meditation, things like this, you interact with beings that are doing the same thing. Or
And everybody is, and I just want to say, watching Encounters, the late night UFO show. Freedom Shapes has been on my show before. Friends with Furries up in Vermont is with me here. Guideco is with me, listening. Well, not just Guideco, but everyone on the spaceship. And again, one of the things I try to teach people in my college days I went through experiences in Vermont when I lived in Vermont, and but I found in my awakening process that really, in truth, all you need is to focus without anything. Just focus on yourself. Focus on the inner meditation. Discipline yourself in a Christ conscious meditation. And I guarantee if people can learn to do that, as you were saying, without associating with the TV set on, the news that happens locally, Good Morning America, The Bachelorette, and all these things that are diversions from everything else, if you can turn those things off and connect with yourself, I guarantee everyone watching this show, and many of you are doing it already, but if you do that and you practice it every day on a daily basis, you will connect to that cosmic frequency, which is your connection to the stars, not just to the stars. And when I say the word stars, let me qualify that. When I say stars, I mean to your star family. All right. So everyone out here, you understand what I mean. When I say that, that means every one of you has the ability, as my cat Missy is walking away from me, I don't know what she's going to do. You have the ability to connect with your star family, and no, don't do that. No, be a good girl. And I talk to my cat folks, so, there you go. No, you don't need to do that. You need to just, good girl. So, so I do have this relationship with Missy, and she's here listening to my show right now. I put her on the screen. I know Gadico, you love to see my cat.
Oh, he loves
Gadico, would you like to see my cat?
I heard that. Yeah.
Did he say yes?
Yes, he did.
Okay, let me bring her on here. Hold on a minute. Let me just see if I can bring her on here. Hold on. Okay, I got her. Oh, what was that? Who's doing that?
That was Freedom.
Oh, yeah. Oh boy, this is not easy. Here we go. Gadico, here's my cat.
So
here's my cat.
Look at her go.
Gadico, what do you think?
Get a good look at that.
Let's listen to Gadico. What do you think, Gadico? Yeah. I'm gonna put her down. Oh,
Get a
sorry,
good look
Missy.
at that little thing, huh?
The tiny kitty.
Wow. It's beautiful.
Yeah, she. I just figured I'd share the cat with my space friends on the ship.
Can't go wrong with sharing your cat. Come on now, everybody loves a good cat.
And she's very cosmic. She's tuned in, with the space beings too. She talks to them. She does that, right? Do you talk with the space people? Now she just walked out of here, so I think she had enough.
So, Freedom, you said you were interested in little people?
Yeah, so when I was 14 years old, I had a experience with the most powerful entheogen known to man called Salvia divinorum. I bought this from a gas station in Simi Valley, unbeknownst to me what it was. And me and my friends smoked this and behind a dumpster behind a Ralph's parking lot, which is a grocery store here in California. And I descended into a machine. I descended deep into a machine. I was on a conveyor belt. I was a tiny yellow square, and this machine was being operated on by what I call a community of gnomes. And these gnomes filled me with abstrusities about the nature of reality, so complex that I barely could understand what was going on. And by the end of this experience, I, never wanted anything to do with this again. And it really rattled me because it rattled my worldview. And since then I've been trying to make sense of this, and I've found some very, very, very interesting things about this experience that many, 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 many cultures share. Not only many cultures, I could argue that every single culture, culturally isolated cultures, have had these exact same experiences with the machines, with the elves or gnomes, whatever you want to call them. And every single culture has their own accounts of these beings. And so I've kind of, for 20 years, been trying to make sense of this. And, through my personal experiments with powerful entheogens, it's come to my attention that I believe that we're sharing the planet with what I call a crypto parallel terrestrial. which is a
What is that?
well, it's an ancient hominin. I believe it's an ancient hominin that has been secretly evolving alongside man for millions of years, and has basically recently developed the technology to leave the planet, which is what I think a large percentage of unidentified flying objects are. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the moment we developed the technology to destroy the planet with nuclear weapons, another entity here developed technology to leave the planet, which is what we see with the UAP phenomenon.
Okay, so let me counter that. I have to, because
Absolutely.
I respect it, but I don't think that's what's happening. I think that there are UFOs or spaceships now. Right now, just to let you know, I have my friend on a spaceship from another planet. He can hear everything you're saying, everything. So understand that too. So I'm going to give you an understanding that's important. There are spaceships that come and go to our planet from other planetary systems. There are definitely many different frequencies where you could be walking down the street, Freedom, and there could be a spiritual being of light walking down the same street in a different frequency that you don't even see. And it's in your awakened state. You're walking with your sunglasses on a nice day. They walk right by you, but you don't see them. You won't see them until your frequency is elevated to that frequency. And it has nothing to do with taking anything. It has to do with working on the elevation of that frequency. When I do my workshops and I take people to the Golden Ship of Light, which exists, and they keep a journal, they come back and they write down everything they've seen in a total out-of-body experience. They go into a Merkaba state, clearly, nothing other than themselves leaving their body behind. Body is fully activated, fully breathing, their hearts are working. They come back, and that's what I teach people to do. Once I teach them how to do it, they can just go in their house and do it and go off planet to that particular ship. That ship, Gadako knows, the Golden Ship is a galactic ship of light. It's a living ship. And it's a ship where the Christ, Jesus, the cosmic Jesus, resides in that ship. That is like his central communications point. And Gadako, have you been to the Golden Ship of Light? One tap for yes. See, the confirmation. You see what I'm giving you, brother?
Right. And and by the way, I do not, and I'll be the first to admit that I grant that there's a lot more to this phenomenon than just the gnomes. The gnomes, when I say a gnome,
Oh, gnomes exist. Gnomes exist. My
right.
friend has a
Absolutely.
gnome in her
Well,
house.
here, so yeah, so basically what I'm saying is that I grant that other phenomenology, other phenomenal aspects of this exist. There is it's a giant universe out there. We're probably
Yes.
being visited by, I mean,
Always.
firsthand that you're being visited by someone from Mars, right? I'm not discounting that at all, but what I am saying is that on this planet we have been there is a phenomenon, and this phenomenon is short-statured little people that have been like I said, at every in every single culture, and every culture
Absolutely.
has a name for this, has
Yeah.
described this. Now, what I believe has happened, and I think that, and by the way, everything I say, I have scientific papers, different things like this that I can offer you. And what I believe that this is the basal clade of Homo floresiensis, the ancestral clade of Homo floresiensis. Now, are you familiar with Homo floresiensis?
No, I'm not. I'm just familiar with the things I'm familiar with, and I'll be honest with you. I have no idea what that is, but I can tell you about. Let's just talk about gnomes for a minute.
Right.
My friend, who's a Ashtar Command person in another town next to me, has a gnome that is part of her house. The gnome is galactically understanding a lot of things. So gnomes do exist, just like the Sasquatch, just like we call the Bigfoot or Sasquatch. There are many things. Angels exist. We know that angelic beings exist. We know that they're obviously starseed, people that come from other planets exist. There are people living in the inner Earth, the Agartha network, which I'm very tuned into. The Hollow Earth, which is what our Earth is, has galactic civilizations that live in our Earth. Our Earth is not just a core of lava and just a solid rock. So the things people need to understand is that we have a lot of things that exist that might not be taught in the books of our history in school. I mean, you weren't taught in school about gnomes. I wasn't taught in school about gnomes, about space people from other planets. We weren't. But
No,
we
Yeah, and
know
a
they
lot
I
of people, a
exist.
lot
personally
of people
wasn't taught
were.
about them, but I work with them every day.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Friends does. She works with
Every
she
day. I have
and
literally have hundreds of them on my property, lots of them in my woods. They live
And
in
is
my
this
yeah,
something
home.
that appears to you through consciousness, or is this an
it's physical.
It,
For
anthropological
I
thing?
Friends,
can
it's all
physically
physical.
see them.
Right. Okay.
Everything
So
she has up there is physical. She sees fairies. She has pictures of fairies
I
that
have
exist.
fairy
We know they
friends
exist. Or
that
fairy
are
friends.
with
That's right.
me at all
Friends with
times, that
fairies.
hence the
are my
name, right? Okay.
protectors.
I see now.
Light beings. She's seen have light beings that come on her property. Where she lives in a very high frequency of consciousness. And I used to live in Vermont, so I know I know the area that she is in. So, like I try to tell people on this show, just go for it. Just don't intellectualize it. Don't try to mentally intellectualize anything. Experience it. Go for it. Try to just
There's a
do it.
certain interest though in trying to explain these experiences, and I think that there is
Oh, that's why we
something
have
that
the
we
show
can.
here.
Right, exactly, and I really appreciate you letting me on to try to elaborate on these theories that I've come up with and these conclusions that I've drawn, because they are backed up by peer-reviewed science, and I think that we can make genuine connections here, especially between gnomes and what's called Homo floresiensis. Now, Homo floresiensis was a 3 foot tall ancient hominin that was discovered in 2002 on the island of Flores, Indonesia. Now, this being was
And who discovered it? That's the question.
Mike Moore. So you
Mike
can look,
Moore.
yeah, Mike Moore et al. 2002. He's an anthropologist that discovered this with a team of Australian anthropologists. And what happened here is that they tried to say that this was Homo erectus that experienced island dwarfism, but through studies, many studies, endocasts, things like this, we realized that we had to grant it its own genus of Homo, which is why hence the term Homo floresiensis. Now, here's where it gets a little confusing. I don't think that gnomes are Homo floresiensis. What I think happened is that Homo floresiensis is an offshoot of gnomes, meaning that the ancestral predecessor of Homo floresiensis migrated to Flores out of Africa around 100,000 years ago or so. And there's plenty of evidence of this. One of the main evidences of this is that they found identical stone tools at the base of the Nile that were on the island of Flores. So Mike Morwood found these tools, I think, way earlier, and he also found the same stone tools that Homo floresiensis was using. There's also a jawbone indicating that Homo floresiensis had been there for 1 million years, passing down stone tools.
And let me ask you a question. You say stone tools. So we're not
Mhm.
talking about, even though they had stone tools, we're not talking about like some advanced terrestrial civilization here,
Well, we're talking
based on what you're
about
saying.
Right, we're talking about archaic, primitive stone tools, but we do know that they were based on. So we found these creatures. Not we. I didn't. I was barely alive. I was, tripping on salvia behind a dumpster while Mike Morrow was doing the legwork here,
Yeah.
discovering Homo floresiensis. But what he found was that he found them with two animals, a stegodon elephant and what's called Leptosis robustus, which is a giant crane capable of full flight. And they found cut marks from these tools on these bones, charred remains indicating that they were able to cook with fire. And we've done endocasts. Again, not we. I haven't done endocasts, right? But
But I
they're
want to know. I want to know.
Mhm.
I want to also bring some other people up here because I don't.
Absolutely.
You know, and then I'll let you go too. But I appreciate you coming back on. That we have a lot of ancient history of these things in what we call archaeology, which would be that would be put in the archaeology history of our planet on that research. That would be part of what is an archaeologist. That person would be an archaeologist finding those things.
And
He is probably
paleoanthropology, yeah.
oh
Can
yeah,
can I tell you
anthropology.
what I know? Can I
Yeah, go
just
ahead.
intervene and
Go
tell
ahead,
you
friends.
what I know? And this
Yeah.
is coming from them themselves. Now they used to work with humans. They used to work alongside of and be friends with and do all of that with humans, hundreds and millions of years ago. But the fairies and gnomes and all those cryptid beings were being abused by humans. Humans took advantage
Right.
of them. So They went underground. They stopped working with them. And yes, some of them still don't like humans, but most of them have
Right.
come to the realization that, that we need help, and they are here, and they are coming by the droves. They are here to
Right.
help.
Absolutely.
That's
And
the key thing, really.
100%. And I totally agree. It does get a little fishy. And before you let me go, I know you're trying to get someone else on here, and I totally respect that. Let me just finish up with the theory, because we can say that. So if Homo floresiensis, could have gone extinct on the island of Flores, I totally grant that. But an entire civilization still exists where they originally migrated out of. Now, what's interesting about this is that Homer, and the ancient Greeks have tons of documents and reports of what they call the pygmies. Now, the pygmies were a short-statured uh, hominin creature that hunted.
I know about the
Right,
pygmies.
that they
I
were being
studied that.
hunted by giant cranes. Exactly what Mike Morwood and his team found the bones with. So they had the same exact diet, the same exact stone tools, and so these pygmies, I think, eventually had to go underground to avoid being attacked by these cranes, which is what Homer and the ancient Greeks talked about. And I think this is where they made the transition from just an archaic hominin to what we consider gnomes, leprechauns, elves, etc., 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 which was an eruption of these reports through Europe and Asia and every continent, every culture, as I mentioned before. I think what happened let me just finish before you interrupt, because this is where it's important. I think that they descended into these cave systems, okay? And when they went into these cave systems, they developed what I call generational hypoxia. Now, we talked about earlier what happens when you reduce oxygen to the brain, you encounter the mystic experience. This has been documented over and over again in psychological studies, things like this. So these creatures were naturally predisposed to be able to withstand low oxygen atmosphere, low oxygen, and they develop generational hypoxia, putting them in a permanent state of a mystic experience. And during this time, they discovered what I call decorated substratum. They discovered the tapestry of consciousness that can be manipulated and had been manipulated, like by other entities, like your Gaia and other
No, not
entities.
Gaia.
Sorry, what was his name? Or what was
Okay.
the?
There's no okay. So let me stop you there.
Okay.
When you say there's no manipulation, I'm trying to cover before I let you go the stream of thought. So let me explain something. Gattaco and I go back before Planet Off. Gekko. Gattaco is from the star system Sirius. So I got to give you factual information so you know what you're responding to. The other part of it is that there's no manipulation of anything. The word manipulation doesn't even equate to my communications with my space brother. So that has to be cleared up.
I think you're misinterpreting what I mean by manipulation. I just mean that consciousness itself is malleable, and you can add things to it, just like you can add things to the real world. You can build a structure in the material world, just like we build homes. You can also build experiences in the realm of consciousness, in these mystical experiences. And I think that's
Right.
what
When you
they
say
encountered, and they were able to use those directions to be able to create UFOs and things like that we've been able to see on this planet, to basically leave the planet, and to
right, but
they developed a
that
new
and again
metaphysical framework. And
They
that's
can
all I'll say,
float
and I'll
and
around
stop
the
again
there.
planet, but they can't leave the planet. They're dimensional beings. They come from
yeah,
actually from a different dimension.
that's right.
That dimension is consciousness itself. So when someone says extra dimensional
Consciousness
beings, you're
consciousness
reassociating your consciousness with
consciousness
the
isn't a
mind at
dimension.
large.
Consciousness exists in different dimensions. It's not a dimension. Dimensions are dimensions.
You're talking about
Frequencies
the
are frequencies.
material world.
Consciousness is consciousness.
This is where we're gonna have a agreement. And
I'm talking
this is
about
a disagreement, and that's
consciousness.
totally fine. And I don't I welcome it,
Yeah,
and I
I'm
yeah.
talking about spiritual consciousness. I'll let you go. Is separate from frequency and from dimensions and vibration.
Well,
They're
you're talking about
all
material
different
and being in the
things.
material world, and I'm saying none of that actually exists. All it is
No, I'm
consciousness.
not talking. I didn't mention the material world. I'm saying that
You said extra
consciousness.
dimensions in the universe.
No,
The
I
universe
said dimensions
is.
have nothing to do. No, dimensions have nothing to do with materialism. Dimensions have to do with different levels. It's like going up an elevator. You're on one dimension of consciousness. You get to the next dimension. It has nothing to do with buildings, materialism,
how do you get to the next
TV
dimension?
sets.
How do you get to the next dimension?
By getting your consciousness elevated
there you
to
go,
the next
through
frequency.
Consciousness. So you're reassociating
But
with
it has nothing to do with materialism. It has to do with
fractal
consciousness.
picture. The larger fractal
So
picture
I'll leave
of
it at
mind at
that.
large.
But I'll leave it at that. But I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Hey, great talking to you. I appreciate your time. And, everyone have a great night. Thanks for all the gifts. Appreciate you. Cheers.
All right. Hey, take care, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Let's see here. Let's do this. All right. Let's see. Is that working? What's going on here? Oh, here it goes. Take care, my friend. All right. So again, we have different perspectives here on the show, and that was Freedom Shapes. He's been on before. So welcome to the show if you're just watching us. This is Encounters, the late night spiritual UFO talk show. And we have Friends with Furry here. Also, we don't want to forget that we have Godico here. And if Godico were to speak, he would probably say, "Hello, everybody. I'm on the spaceship."
Let's bring it to a little lighter mood.
Yeah. So Godico, I wanted to lighten it up a little bit too. And, and Godico agrees with me. I did the right thing.
Someone said it right. Someone said it's a feeling like music with the different frequencies and vibrations.
Yeah.
Nightbird said that.
And I feel energy, so I felt like the energy was not going where it needed to go.
No.
And people, I trust my feelings, and that's I love everybody, but sometimes even I have to switch the thing. Alex, that's because that's when we've chosen to do it. That's where we have made our decision. Godico and myself decided that April the 13th is the date. So that's when we're going to do it. Just to answer your question. And again, every decision we make in terms of what we're going to do, we make the decision. Nobody else does. We make the decision. Our group agreed to our decision. Godico agreed to our decision. It's just the right timing for what we want to do. It's going to be it's going to be the 13th of April.
It's a good year too. It won't be cold out, and
it'll be perfectly beautiful.
Yes, it'll be a beautiful time.
Everything happens in the way it's supposed to happen on a universal level, and I always work within my inner understandings of light. I never go by what other people want me to do or think I should do or whatever I should do. If I did that, I'd be running around like with a rope around me being pulled by somebody else. and that's not happening, folks. So don't ever think that will happen. I'm an individual cosmic being of light. I do my own thing, and I don't, that's the way it is. That's why I'm where I'm at, And I listen. Yes, I do. Yes, not a follower. And I teach people never to be a follower. I don't think Godico would want anybody to be a follower. I wouldn't want Godico to follow me, because that would not be right either. We're all individual beings, and we all are, we all come from different planetary systems, and we all, if we be who we are, if we are who we are, we don't follow anybody.
Exactly.
I can sense energies like unbelievable. Ever since I've awakened, I can sense people's energy fields.
I guess Godico's agreeing with you. Kit Kat said he tapped once. He's saying yes. He's agreeing with you.
I would never tell Godico or anybody from the Pleiadian star system or any system, this is what you have to do. That's not right. That's not right. It's not the way love is. Love is being able to be expressive in your whole beingness and to embrace people, hug people from other worlds and hug each other and love each other. And it has nothing to do with scientific data or scientific people or anthropology or anything. It has to do with being true to yourself, right?
Exactly. And it I was getting a little heated. I'm not going to say I wasn't, because
I was a little bit, That's why I
I
had
don't
to
want
turn
to. I
that
don't want to go
conversation
there.
off.
Not with gotta go here, and I don't want to.
No,
I
I
don't
don't
want to
either.
feel like that. So I was pushing his negative stuff out and just letting the
Yeah,
love come in because,
yeah.
I work with these beings every day. Every
I
day
know
they're
you
with
do.
me, and
You
these are
do.
the most loving,
That's
childlike,
right.
free beings, and they have been here helping us. And we, just because everybody can't see them doesn't mean they aren't
Right.
here loving us, helping nature, and yes, they can float around in little balls. Yes, they can do all that, but
Yeah,
they are dimensional beings, and they've had the capability of doing this. And the reason why they hide from man is because they were abused by us for a very
yeah,
long time, and they're just
yep,
now coming around. That's why people are starting to see them more, is because they're saying, hey, we're here to help. And they've been working with the ETs, they've been doing
yeah.
all of that.
And you know that more than anybody else because you work directly with them.
Yes.
See, this is one thing for people that have not met my friend in Vermont. She's been working with them forever. She works in the highest frequencies of light. She works nothing but in unconditional love. And that's what we love about Friends with Furries. She works on that same frequency I work with, and it's a beautiful thing. And that's what we should all be looking at, is how we the cause and effect of what we do. You know, Betsy, Commander, are going to the ship in physical form, or are you going? No, we're not going to be astral projecting. No, what we're going to do, Betsy, is we're going to physically experiment in a field come April in an apple orchard. A friend of mine has a big apple orchard, and we have permission to use the field, and we're going to be going aboard the ship through a process of what they call beaming up. Correct, Attico will be beamed up onto the ship. One, just to let this person understand, one tap for yes, two taps for no.
That was a yes, Commander. I heard that.
Yeah, yeah. So just to reconfirm, Betsy, we will be beamed up onto the spaceship, standing on the ground. We'll have our group together in a circle. I don't know how large the beam will be, to tell you the truth. I've never been beamed up on a ship before, so I can't tell you that. But we'll be beamed up on the ship in the field at this apple orchard in the next town over.
Will your body
Is any
wait, there was a question. Will your body physically be going up, or will you just be going up spiritually? That's a good
not
question.
spiritually? It's going to be the whole body. That would be astral projection. We're not astrally projection. We're
Mm-mm.
going to be physically beamed up onto the ship.
And be gone for approximately 2 hours, because time is not the same
Right, it's not the
where they
same.
are. So we could be gone for a month. We could be gone for a couple of weeks.
Right,
They
it could
have
be.
stuff they want to show us, stuff they want to teach us. They have a lot of stuff to talk with the commander about. So
Yeah.
we may
And
be
Friends with
gone for.
Furry she'll be going on the ship with us. She's going to come down to Connecticut. My co-coordinator of our C5 group, who doesn't have TikTok, and his wife will be going. We'll have about 10 or 15 people that are going to represent our planet when we go off planet on the ship and when we're beamed up. So we're not, just to let people know, we're not going to be meditating and going into a dream state or astral projecting, any of that stuff. We are physically going to be taken and beamed up onto a spaceship. I just want to make that clear. Um, will you be brought back to the same spot? Yes. Gatico, we will be brought back to the same apple orchard, correct? One tap for yes, two taps for no. Yes. So we're going to be, he's just confirmed the ship will bring us back to the same spot, and we will be gently put back onto the ground.
Lisa, that's very kind of you. She's offering some of her art to bring with us.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. Art's a beautiful thing.
Well, and hopefully Skip Grace will be going with us, and she'll be
Yes.
able to. She's an artist. She's actually a wonderful artist. I've seen her work. It's beautiful.
She is, isn't she? And also Chesno, who's been my co-host. He's going with us. We have Mystic Mark. He'll be going with us with our Ashtar Command Group in Connecticut. We have a lot of ground crew in this area.
Oh, thank you, Lisa.
Is it going to be filmed? Betsy, Godico said we'll be able to record the ship from the outside of the craft before we go. When we're in the ship, our ability to use TikTok and everything else will be, it will not be, what's the word for it? Our technology will not work on the ship. We won't be able to use the phones. We'll have no way of using the phones. If there was a way of doing it, I believe me, we would, but we're going to be not able to, we're going to be in a different frequency. How do I explain this? It's just not going to work.
And I think this experience is meant for us to learn so we can bring back and share what we have learned. The commander's got a lot to talk with Gotta Go and his people because he's basically like our shepherd through all of this. Because this is.
Betsy, you're welcome. What are you going to say, friends? Go ahead.
I'm just saying that you are basically our shepherd through all of this because Gotta Go is your friend and he has been with you. So he's been your childhood friend. So, you know, he's doing this to give us knowledge, I'm sure, and for us to be able to come back and share what we learn.
Yeah. It's as I said here, I'm not speaking quickly. I'm just taking in and listening and letting Godico speak or tap and also listen to your questions.
What is it?
Elisa says, one night her dog was barking like crazy. I opened the door and looked in the living room and saw an actual extraterrestrial person or being.
Don't feel bad. I've had one hanging half in and half out of my door coming in.
Clifford says, Commander, did Godico explain how the beaming works? Well, since he's tapping, it's no way of explaining it because it's a tap. Godico, if you're able to put a verbal answer, I'll try to maybe I'll get the answer. When we are beamed up, a person wants to know how it works, but tapping is not going to be able for me to explain it. Is there any possible way you can explain it in words as when you tap, I can physically hear that, so I can assume you can speak on some tone in English. Can you tell us how he wants to understand how? What's the question?
How we're going to be
explain how the beaming works.
I think that would be a hard question to answer.
It's a hard question to answer because he's only tapping. So I don't think there's a way of answering that question.
I can tell you, I don't know how it works, but I can tell you that my Bigfoot friend, Pumpkin, his dad is beamed up to be debriefed by the ETs. And I have seen it, and it kind of looks to me, and from my own experience of being brought into ships from when I was younger, it just feels like floating. It feels like you're floating, and it's very fast. It's not. Yeah, I mean, I can't say very fast. They don't make it so you're like you're like.
Yeah, right. Here we are.
It happens quickly, but your body literally just feels like it's floating softly.
Yeah.
It's not scary at all. I wasn't scared when I was beamed up, and I was actually holding an entity's hand when I was brought up, and I wasn't afraid at all. You just feel like a warm light around you, and the next thing you know, you're floating, and you can see it, but you can't physically feel it. It's kind of a strange sensation, but it's not scary. It really isn't. You just, and it feels like it's only a few seconds. Actually, it's like when you're on the ground, you look down, you can see the ground. ground, the next minute you're on the ship.
Yeah.
That's
I think you answered the question now. Godico, is she correct? It's like floating one. Okay, I was talking when you were tapping. Is it like floating? One tap for yes, two taps for no? You just tapped a big tap, folks. So Godico just stated in tapping that we'll be like floating onto the spaceship. When we're beamed up, we'll be floating comfortably onto the ship. It's a very big ship, and we will have about 10 or 15 representatives within our group that will be representing the planet.
See that star that's above Awakened visually? That's what the ship looked like. It looked like that. That's what it
Yeah, that
appeared
star.
to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the
It's a
ship
beautiful ship.
turned into. It was actually really pretty. The different colors it was able to turn. It was very light.
And friends, Carrie Ann is saying, who's going to stay on the ground to record? I think we'll have some people that will stay on the ground to record from the outside of the ship that might not come, but that will be there to record what's happening. And we will definitely, have people that will record what's happening when the ship takes off. Also, one thing I must say is that we're going to be very protected. Now, understand, we'll be making a video recording towards April. We'll be making a video for our contact live on Encounters. We're going to be broadcasting this actually live from the field, and then we'll stop the broadcast when we're going to be beamed up. We're going to have to turn off the phones and stop the broadcast.
Well, somebody had a good question. Will our military detect the ships and take aggressive actions towards the ships? That's why we're picking a non-disclosed location. We know where it's going to be, but and we will be filming, but we're not going to be announcing it everywhere. So
right, we're not going to say where it is. But when I make the recording, it will just say that we're going to be, in general, going we're going to be beamed up on a ship. We won't say the location, but we'll say we're going to be beamed up on a ship, and we're going to do a live broadcast. So we don't have to say where in Connecticut it is or anything.
I mean, think about it, guys. These ships have been here for how long now, and they haven't been able to do anything about it. And there's pretty much nothing they can do about it. Right. These guys have been here. They've been coming. They've been showing themselves, and there's been no military action towards these guys because they don't know they're here. They have such great cloaking capability. It's not funny, They try to mimic the ET's capabilities, but they just can't. These guys are so far technically advanced that they're not going to be able to detect them or know where they're at. These guys are all over the place and they're fast.
Right, and they're everywhere. Like you said, they're everywhere. Betsy's saying, is your family going on the ship with you? So I've expressed to my better half about this. I told her a couple weeks ago, and she hasn't decided yet whether she wants to go on the ship or not. And well, we'll see. We'll see. Could they just humans, but humans? So Godico, is your ship going to be protected from any radar to make sure that radar does not pick anything up? Will you be able to protect your ship or shield it from radar on Earth? One tap for yes, two taps for no. He said yes. So their spaceship will be protected. Radar on Earth, the radar from the military will not be able to pick up their spaceship. When they come to beam us up on the ship, they will not be detected by any Earth-based radar.
Commander, it is 1:36 and I have got to get some sleep.
Me too.
To work tomorrow.
Me too.
All right.
Godico, thank you for being here, brother. Thank you for all the people on your ship, your family, everybody. We love you, and we look forward to being on your ship and our group being the best representatives of our planet as we can be, brother. So we thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, so much for the gifts and for the love and for the artwork, Lisa. Thank you, everybody.
And I wanted to say, Gadico is officially, even though he's on the ship, I the other night told him that he is now a co-host of the show from the spaceship. So everyone, congratulate Gadico. He is now a co-host from the spaceship off planet of our show. Just so people know that.
He's all excited.
He's tapping like crazy.
He's excited.
He's very excited. He's tapping like crazy. he is totally, all the people want to be guests on the spaceship here on the show. Tomorrow night we'll be on again. I need to get some sleep. The commander needs to get some rest in this human form, and I plan on doing so. Great friends, thank you for being here. Again, Gadico, your wife, you call a wife or your mate, and all those on the ship that are doing what they do. We thank you. We love you. We bless you from the Ashtar Galactic Command levels where I work, and we send you much love always.
Thanks, guys.
Always. Everybody have a good night. Everybody have a good trip on the ship wherever you're going right now, and we'll see you tomorrow night, everybody. I'm CmdrAleon. Take care. Peace, love, and light. I think I'm going off. Here we go.